This is Arshad Rahman from Sri Muthukumaran Institute of Technology. I am Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering and I am here to present to you the subject Manufacturing Process. So basically the 5 units here covers about the various areas. Unit 1 is the metal casting process, where they are talking more about the sand casting, pattern making and other latest methods that were followed in the casting process. Then the unit 2 is dealing with the metal joining process. So metal joining process is all about welding. So there are different types of welding here which is to be understood clearly, and again at the end of the unit 2 you have got brazing and soldering also. We are also going to learn lot about the welding defects. Okay. Unit 3 is talking about the bulk deformation process. Here the material is deformed into various shapes by using the different mechanical operations, and from that the different shapes are obtained for the technical use like in the industrial application. Then unit 4 is talking about the sheet metal process, where the sheet metal is processed in the various forms by using the different techniques such as the stretch forming operation, then a lot about the hydro forming, rubber pad forming, metal spinning, induction of explosive forming process, the magnetic pulse forming and so on. And the unit 5 is talking about the manufacturing of plastic components. Here there are two types of plastic material area, where the thermoplastic is there, thermosetting plastic is there. So those two types using different methods like injection molding and other transfer molding process are also dealt here. Okay. Now coming to the course objective. Now as usual, the first part of the course objective says to illustrate the working principle of various metal casting process. So this is what the first unit talks about. So we are going to focus more on this first unit. So unit 1 here. So as I told you, this is the sand casting process. So sand molding, types of pattern, pattern allowance, molding sand properties, testing, then core, types of cores, molding machines, types and applications of molding machines, then melting furnaces, so where the raw material is melted, so there is a melting furnace. Then in different special casting process is there. It's talking about shell casting, investment casting, ceramic mold, pressure die casting, lower pressure and higher pressure gravity mold. Then it is talking about the centrifugal casting, then carbon dioxide casting, and again to end with we have got the defects in sand casting. Okay. Now coming to the casting part of it. Now what is a casting process? So sand casting is a metal casting process that utilizes sand as the mold material. So it involves various steps, like first to create the mold cavity within the sand mixture, then pour the mold into the molten metal into the cavity, allow it to cool and solidify. Then you have to break the sand part of it and take the final part of the machine, right? Pattern. Next, this is the step-by-step procedure, which is a block diagram you can see here. First, to start with, you have got the pattern making, core making and gating system. From there you have to go to the molding process. So molding process, we have to make the replica of the sand, so replica of the pattern using the sand. So here again next you have got to prepare the molten metal for pouring the molten metal into the mold. Then solidification happens, then finally you shake out and remove the final product. Then you have to clean it and go for the final work, cleaning work. Now advantages here. So this has been in practice for a very long duration, and any complex shapes can also be produced, and practically any type of material can be casted. So here, due to small cooling rate from all direction, the properties of casting are same in all direction. So property is equal also. heavy equipments like machine leads, the ship propeller, etc. can be easily casted. That is the main advantage. Now talking about the applications, we have got lot of applications here. Talking about the transport, we have got automobile, aerospace, railways and shippings. Then about the heavy equipment, we have got the construction, farming and mining. And talking about the machine tools, lot of machine tools are being prepared here using the forging process, extrusion and forming. And plant machineries, they are using chemical, petroleum, paper, sugar, all these plants are using this application. Then defense also, talking about the vehicles, the artillery and all other supporting equipments. Then even you can talk about household applications where we are using for kitchen also, and gardening and also for the furniture fittings. Now this visual you can see, you have got the examples of the casted parts, right? Then now we can see the section part of the cope and drag, where you have got the arrangements to make the pattern, to fill the pattern and take the pattern out of the mold, then you have to make the product. So here this is the sectioned part with the parts are labeled here. You can see the various names here. So you got the flask which is talking about the cope or drag, then the sprue, then sand area where you have to fill the sand, then there is a parting line. So why you have got parting line here is there are two halves, one is the cope and the other one is the drag. So you have to, it is a separate portion. First you have to fill one part, then place it one over the other, then give the second part filling, then compact it, and finally you have to fix the runner, riser and venting also. Then finally you have to open out and take the pattern out of the sand casting. Then you have got, now you have got the cavity, which is again further used for manufacturing of the parts. So this is the one. So how you make the molding sand? So the cavity in the sand mold is formed by packing the sand around the pattern, then the separating mold into two halves and removing the pattern. Then the mold must also contain the gating, the riser system. What you call, why we are calling as gating? Gating is the path with which the molten metal flows, and riser is the area where we can have the indication where the material is filled up in the cavity and completely, and then it has to rise from the riser level. Then we can stop pouring the molten metal. If the casting is to have the internal surfaces, a core must be added or included. New sand mold must be prepared for each part produced over time. So every time you have to do it. Okay, now whatever I have told you here through the points, now you can see it in the picture format like a diagram. The first one, you have got the one half of the pattern made using the sand pattern making process. Then the second half, then finally they are providing the vent. Now why we are providing vent here is actually when you pour the molten metal, it is in the liquid state, and where when you just keep both half together and pour it, the gases, the molten metals, the gases from the molten metal try to escape out. So in that process you need to give the venting, otherwise it will have a difficulty in going out, and so the mold won't be strong. The material or the part that is produced out of this will not be a strong one. So this is how it is produced. Now I am here having an animation where you can see the ladle brings the molten metal and pours into the basin. Now you can see that in the display. Now it is flowing along the sprue. Sprue is the path where it is going to reach the cavity part of it. So runner, it is coming to the runner, then it is filling the casting part. So now it is, once after filling, now it goes to the riser part. So once it comes to the riser part, now we will stop pouring the molten metal. So after that we need to give some time for cooling. After solidification takes place, then we are going to remove the model or the part which is produced. So by breaking the sand, cleaning it, then preparing it for the further operation. Now talking about the classification, now we have got two types here. One is we talk about the open mold, so where only one half of it is being kept and one single piece is being casted here. That is the left side, the A part of the diagram. In the right side if you go, you have got the other one where the total piece, that is both the cope and the drag, it is put together and it is used for making the pattern. So these are the, so one we call it as open mold and second one we call it as the closed mold. Now what I have told you is about pattern. So a pattern is a definition, by definition we can say it is a replica of what we are going to produce. Like it has got it may have got some complexity in shapes, different sizes and all that. So you have to make using this pattern. Now function of the pattern, it prepares a mold cavity, there is for casting, then runner, riser and all it is used, then pattern is properly made and having the finished smooth surface, then finally it is allowed, the molten metal is poured into it, casted and removed. Now talking about the types of pattern, we have got about 9 varieties here, 9 list of items here. Single piece pattern, split piece pattern, loose piece pattern, match plate pattern, sweep pattern, gated pattern, skeleton pattern, follow-board pattern and cope and track pattern. So guys, I will talk to you about these patterns in detail in the next class. Thank you for your cooperation.